The teen named Allie suffers from lupus, a condition where her immune system mistakenly attacks her own healthy tissue. Constantly fatigued and dangerously sensitive to UV rays, she is confined indoors, leaving her isolated and without friends. It's Allie's 16th birthday, celebrated only by her wealthy parents and their staff. She receives a surprise video greeting from her favorite pop icon, a luxury her parents purchased. Though thrilled, Allie feels a sting of insecurity knowing he saw her looking frail. Later, Allie tends to her peeling skin and takes her regimen of pills. Desperate for connection, she asks an AI for advice on making friends, but every suggestion involves leaving the house. When it suggests online forums, Allie dismisses it, craving tangible human interaction. The AI then suggests a pet, but Allie's allergies make that impossible, so she shuts her laptop in frustration. Seeking solace, she uses a motorized lift to lower herself into the indoor pool. Underwater, she experiences a vivid, disturbing vision of a scientist sedating her near tanks filled with clones. When a floating double opens its eyes, Allie snaps back to reality, realizing she has stayed under too long. Gasping for air, she is guided back to her chair by her mother, Georgia. Later, her parents host a gala to unveil Elysium, a high-tech private sanctuary for the elite. As guests inquire about Allie, her parents claim her fragile health requires total isolation from strangers. Meanwhile, Allie watches the event via surveillance feeds. She spots a server heading outdoors and follows his path on the monitor, discovering a group of teenagers on the nearby beach. Determined, Allie bundles up in protective clothing and slips out unnoticed amidst the party chaos. On the shore, two boys mistake her covered form for an elderly woman. She removes her glasses to reveal her youth and tries to talk, but her social rustiness makes the encounter painful. The boys walk away, loudly mocking her skin. Distraught, Allie almost retreats, but a girl named Brooke offers her a drink, sparking a moment of genuine kindness. Back inside, Georgia finds Allie's room empty and immediately dispatches security to track her down. On the sand, Allie listens to Brooke's local gossip and tries her first beer, which triggers a coughing fit. Security guards arrive to retrieve her. Allie resists, recoiling when they try to grab her. Her coughing worsens as the guards pivot to chase the boys, who are filming the scene. Minutes later, the guards bring Allie and Brooke back to the house, mentioning the alcohol. Georgia's concern turns to rage. When Brooke tries to speak up for Allie, she is forcibly removed. Georgia's harsh lecture leaves Allie feeling crushed and more alone than ever. That night, Allie finds Brooke on social media but decides against reaching out, assuming the friendship is over. Elsewhere, her parents worry that Allie's teenage rebellion is becoming a liability. The next morning, over a breakfast of supplements, Georgia has a change of heart. Georgia admits that socialization might reduce Allie's stress and invites Brooke over. Brooke confesses she's being paid to visit and had to pass medical screenings first, but the two girls find they have a real spark. Allie shows her around, noting her parents' office is strictly off-limits. The following days are filled with joy. Brooke brings wigs for Allie to try on, and they bond over movies and light exercise. Eventually, Brooke asks if Allie's parents are Russian due to their accents. Allie explains their global business involves searching for rare medicinal plants. Allie describes her parents as health extremists who follow a rigid vegan diet and a strict intermittent fasting window. Brooke is skeptical of the heavy supplements in their fridge and decides to teach Allie how to cook a real meal, requiring a servant to provide a locked-away knife. Brooke gives Allie a makeover, drawing on eyebrows and shaving the remaining patches of her hair. The intimate moment leads to a kiss. Meanwhile, in their private spa, Allie's parents watch the entire scene on camera. Georgia is suspicious of Brooke, but Jeff thinks the friendship is beneficial. Back home, Brooke gives her brother Robbie, who uses a wheelchair, medicine she swiped from the mansion. She feels guilty, but Robbie reminds her the family is shady. He can't find a single public record or photo of Jeff and Georgia online. That night, Allie's sleep is invaded by the Russian-speaking scientist from her visions. She sees a heart exposed in an open chest before a blood-filled tube constricts her throat. Terrified, she calls Brooke, who is busy caring for a sick Robbie. He's vomiting from the stolen pills. Allie begs Brooke to come over, but Brooke can't leave her brother, offering comfort over the phone instead. The next day, the girls find an old family film. It shows a young Allie arriving at the house, a day she remembers as the last time she felt truly healthy. Brooke notices Georgia hasn't aged a day in 10 years. Allie explains she was adopted after her mother died in childbirth, considering herself lucky. Brooke counters with her own family trauma, involving a schizophrenic mother and an absent, neglectful father. Brooke asks Allie if she really trusts her creepy parents, offended that Brooke would question the people spending millions on her care. Allie starts a fight, and Brooke leaves. Allie continues the video, seeing her younger self hiding in a room she doesn't recognize. Jeff later finds Allie in tears, mourning her lost friendship. He offers quiet comfort. Soon after, Allie sees an elderly woman watching her from the garden. The woman breaks in, hysterically screaming that she needs Allie before sinking her teeth into Allie's arm. Guards drag the woman away while Jeff berates them for the security breach. As Georgia cleans the bite, Allie notes the woman looked familiar and desperately ill. Georgia dismisses it as a random intruder, but Brooke and Robbie soon discover via the dark web that Allie's medicine is actually a sedative. Brooke leaves an apologetic voicemail, hoping to reconcile. While Allie listens, she spots a mysterious figure leaving the house late at night. The next morning, Allie convinces a reluctant Georgia to let Brooke return for dinner. That evening, the girls cook together. Georgia tries the food and offers a rare compliment, telling Brooke she wants them to get along. Brooke responds politely, but as the meal ends, both Georgia and Allie collapse. Brooke has drugged their food. Allie wakes up in Brooke's car. Panicked, Brooke tries to explain that her parents are intentionally keeping her sick, but the heated argument leads to a violent car crash. At the house, Jeff finds a recovering Georgia and blocks the staff from calling the police. At the hospital, Brooke is unresponsive. A doctor, Morrissey, discovers Allie has an incredibly rare blood type and notes she doesn't actually have lupus. Before he can investigate further, Jeff arrives and insists on moving Allie to a private facility under his own doctor's care. Guards trash Brooke's apartment, destroying Robbie's computer and threatening his life. Later, a recovering Allie tells her parents she no longer trusts anyone. Georgia forbids her from seeing Brooke again, promising to monitor the girl's recovery from a distance. Allie has a nightmare about her parents driving her away with sinister smiles. She wakes up and calls the hospital. Dr. Morrissey confirms Brooke is in a coma and reiterates that Allie's lupus diagnosis was a lie. Allie confronts her parents in their office, demanding the truth. Georgia claims Morrissey is wrong and that world-class specialists have confirmed her illness. Allie leaves unconvinced. Jeff later brings her official medical reports to prove their point, and Allie, exhausted, pretends to apologize and drop the subject. Robbie visits Brooke, begging her to wake up. Dr. Morrissey tells him the parents are paying for her care, but Robbie suspects Allie is just a poster child for a fraudulent charity. Morrissey begins researching Allie's golden blood and its ties to life extension research. Morrissey heads home late at night but is followed. After a forced flat tire, a helpful stranger approaches and brutally murders the doctor with a tire iron. Meanwhile, Allie begins flushing her medication down the toilet. Allie follows Georgia to a hidden garden structure that looks like a spa, but her mother vanishes inside. She retreats when she hears guards. Later, she's spooked by a shadow in the garden and drops her phone, but the figure disappears. The next day, Allie's increased appetite and improved swimming skills alarm her parents. During dinner, Jeff notes her healthy glow. Allie credits the sun, which triggers Georgia's anger. Allie promises to stay inside, but continues to dispose of her pills. Allie vomits blood and sees Brooke's ghost in the mirror, urging her to wake up. It's another dream. In reality, Brooke finally wakes up in the hospital. Allie, feeling weak again, realizes her parents are lacing her food with a sedative. Finding her phone blocked and the Wi-Fi password changed, Allie rewatches the old footage and spots a hidden door. Meanwhile, Brooke convinces Robbie to help her escape the hospital so they can save Allie. At dinner, Allie pretends she isn't hungry to avoid the drugged food. After faking sleep to trick Georgia, she sneaks back to the garden spa. Using the date from the old video as a code, she opens a secret passage leading to an underground bunker. Allie discovers a lab filled with bags of her own blood. She finds her parents hooked up to IV drip, literally consuming her life force to stay young. They catch her, and as she flees, a guard intercepts her in the garden. Strapped to a table, Allie calls them monsters. Jeff calmly explains that her golden blood is a literal fountain of youth worth a fortune. They admit to inducing her lupus symptoms to keep her prisoner, revealing their true ages are much older than they look. As Robbie and Brooke arrive to break in, Georgia prepares a final sedative. Allie manages to free a hand, stabs Georgia with the needle, and runs for the beach. She reunites with Brooke, and they sneak back inside to rescue Robbie. Realizing the parents' influence makes the police useless, the group decides to destroy the operation. Allie and Brooke head to the lab and rupture every blood bag. They then stumble into an office where an Elysium promotional video is playing. The scientist from Allie's nightmares, Dr. Vulkar, appears. The girls flee as the guards close in. Robbie is captured by security, while Allie and Brooke discover a room housing 3 mature clones of Allie. Allie realizes the Elysium plan is to mass-produce her blood. She begins smashing the incubation tubes. When Vulkar tries to intervene, Brooke beats him unconscious. Allie then kills the emerging clones to ensure the cycle ends. A guard captures Brooke, using her as leverage. Allie threatens to kill herself with a knife, forcing her parents to negotiate. Jeff asks for 10 minutes to talk while Georgia secretly orders a pilot to prepare their jet and dispose of the siblings. In the garden, Jeff claims he never wanted kids, but that Allie was his greatest joy. When he tries to disarm her, a struggle ensues, and Allie stabs him. Horrified by her own actions, she watches him collapse as Georgia arrives. Georgia, seeing Jeff has a pulse, orders Allie to help, but Allie turns to leave. An enraged Georgia attacks, and they fall into the pool. Allie's natural strength prevails. She entangles Georgia in the pool lift's machinery and holds her under. Georgia briefly regains consciousness and grabs Allie, but Allie delivers a fatal blow with the knife. Now the sole survivor, Allie informs the guards that she is the heir to the fortune, and they now work for her. A year later, a healthy Allie tells guests her parents died at sea. She rebrands Elysium as a free clinic for all children. Brooke reveals they've used Allie's blood to develop actual cures for various diseases. Robbie calls No able to walk thanks to the new treatment. However, he has discovered a massive hidden sublevel of the lab containing hundreds of additional Allie clones. The vision fades as Allie realizes it was a dream. Simultaneously, Brooke finally regains consciousness in the hospital. By morning, Allie feels a familiar lethargy and loses her appetite. She suspects her parents are poisoning her food with the medicine to keep her weak, so she discreetly purges in the bathroom to stay alert. She attempts to call Brooke, but the line is dead. She tries her laptop next, only to find the Wi-Fi password has been changed. Turning back to the old home videos, she spots a mysterious door in the background that she never noticed before. Elsewhere, Brooke tries to reach Allie, but gets an out-of-service tone. Desperate, she convinces Robbie to help her break out of the hospital. That evening, Allie claims she isn't hungry and retires early, which Georgia finds encouraging. Once she's alone, she flushes the drugged meal and fakes sleep until Georgia finishes her check-in. Once the coast is clear, Allie creeps back to the garden spa. Recalling the video, she scours the room until she triggers a concealed button. A sliding mirror reveals a keypad. After failed attempts using birthdays and anniversaries, she enters the date from the video, which unlocks a hidden staircase. Descending into the earth, Allie finds herself in a labyrinth of dark corridors. She discovers a laboratory where a refrigerator is stocked with bags of her own blood. Nearby, she finds her parents on stretchers, receiving her golden blood via IV. When they suddenly open their eyes, Allie bolts, nearly colliding with a servant during her frantic escape. She reaches the garden only to be intercepted by a guard. Soon, Allie is the one strapped to a stretcher. She screams that they are monsters, but Jeff insists they are good parents protecting a 1-in-a-million resource. Her blood is so valuable that they sell it for $200,000 a pint. They admit her lupus was a pharmaceutical lie used to keep her submissive. Georgia reveals she is actually 57 and Jeff is 63. Their youth is fueled by Allie's blood, not their lifestyle. Jeff calls Allie the cure. Meanwhile, Robbie and Brooke arrive and look for a way inside. In the lab, Georgia prepares a sedative. Allie manages to loosen her restraints and stabs her mother with the needle instead. She flees toward the beach, desperate for an exit. Brooke finds her just in time and vows to help. As guards patrol the area, the girls duck behind a trunk. Once the path is clear, they slip back into the mansion and let Robbie inside. The trio realizes they can't trust the authorities, as the parents' wealth has bought everyone off. Fleeing in a car would only lead to a police chase. Their only choice is to dismantle the operation from within. Armed with a knife, Allie and Brooke enter the lab and slash every bag of blood. Leaving the wreckage, they follow the sound of classical music to a luxurious office. On a screen, the Elysium trailer plays. Suddenly, a man emerges from the shadows. Allie recognizes Dr. Vulkar, the scientist from her nightmares. He speaks in Russian, sending the girls running. On the monitors, Robbie sees the guards closing in, but a guard captures him before he can warn his sister. The girls race through the halls and stumble into a second lab. They find 3 massive tanks containing clones of Allie. The Elysium project isn't just a colony, it's a franchise built on her DNA. Allie grabs a heavy tool and begins smashing the glass. Vulkar rushes in to stop the destruction, but Brooke drops him with a single blow and keeps swinging to keep him down. Allie shatters the tubes and the clones spill out. She strikes them repeatedly to ensure they can't be used. As they try to flee, a guard seizes Brooke. Allie holds a knife to her own throat, forcing her parents to halt. assault. Brooke tells them the clones are gone, and Allie threatens to end her own life unless they stand down. Jeff negotiates for 10 minutes of her time. Georgia takes Brooke upstairs, secretly calling her pilot to prep the jet and ordering the hitman to execute the siblings. In the garden, Jeff claims he never wanted kids, but that Allie was his greatest joy. He swears he loves her, yet Allie keeps him away with the blade. When she threatens herself again, Jeff lunges to disarm her. In the scuffle, Allie stabs Jeff. He falls, and the reality of her actions hits her instantly. Allie panics and tries to help, but Jeff apologizes and loses consciousness. Georgia arrives and, finding a pulse, demands Allie assist her. Allie refuses and walks away. A furious Georgia tackles her into the pool. They fight in the water, but Allie's youth gives her the edge. Georgia tries to escape, but Allie loops the chair's lift rope around her mother's neck and shoves her under. After a brief struggle, Georgia goes limp. When Allie tries to climb out, Georgia lunges one last time. Allie grabs the knife and slashes her mother's throat, ending the nightmare. Emerging from the pool, Allie confronts the guards. As the sole heir to the estate, she informs them their loyalty is now hers. She commands them to dispose of the bodies. A year later, a vibrant ally tells guests her parents died in a boating accident. She is still launching Alessium, but now as a free medical center for children. Brooke joins her, noting that Allie's blood has been used to create legitimate cures for cancer and lupus. Just then, Allie gets a call from Robbie, who can finally walk. As the first successful patient, he's been exploring the depths of the facility. He tells her the lab is far larger than they thought. He's just found a chamber containing hundreds of Ally clones.